So hello everyone, in this video we are going to see the problem zigzag traversal of a binary tree. So given a binary tree, we have to find the zigzag traversal of the binary tree. So the input is 3 2 1, so the zigzag traversal will be 3 1 2. Similarly, we have another example for the given binary tree. We will find the zigzag traversal for this also. So the zigzag traversal is nothing but traversing a given binary tree in the zigzag order. So what is the zigzag order? First of all, let's see that. So we have this binary tree. So what we will do is, for initially we will traverse it in this way, and then we will further travel if there are further nodes. So simply what we will do, we will traverse the root node, then we will traverse towards the right node first, and then the left node. So 3 1 2 will be answer for this. For a bigger example tree, let's see for this one. So what we will do is, we will try traversing in this way. So this will be the zigzag traversal. So you can see 7 7, the next is 7 9 8 8 6 9 10. So this is our final output. So this is the zigzag traversal. This is what we call the zigzag traversal of a binary tree. So we have to find the zigzag traversal. So what is the logic behind this is, we have already seen a similar kind of problem previously, where we basically what we are doing in this case is, we are just simply traversing a given binary tree, right? Now for traversal, we know that there is a technique called as level order traversal. Okay, so what we have done previously is something called as level order traversal line by line, if you remember. If you have not seen that video, please check that first. So we are going to make use of that logic over here only, and then we are going to reach to our final answer. So whenever we were doing level order traversal line by line, what we were doing is, we were storing the every level nodes into a queue, and then we were printing them line by line. So what we were doing is, we were doing this kind of thing, right? So in this time, what we are going to do is, we are going to take a variable, suppose let's say f. We will initially assign it to 0 or 1, and what we will do is, we will check if f value is 0 initially, then we do not have to reverse the particular line. We will simply output 7. Now while we are outputting a given level, what we will do is, we will change the value of f to 1. Now again, when we will check if f value is 1 at this level, so yes, we will find out that yes, f value is the 1. So what we will do is, we will simply reverse the order of this level, and we will print it in a reverse fashion. That is, we will print 7 first and then 9. Again, while the entire level is printed, what we will do is, we will simply update the value of f to 0. So when we are traversing the next level, we will check again whether f value is 0 and 1. We will find that f value is 0, so we do not have to reverse this level. We simply have to print the nodes of this level. So again, after this is done, we will update the f value to 1. Once this is done, we will check for the next, while traversing the next level, we will check if the f value is 1 or 0. We will find out that the f value is 1. So in this case, we have to reverse the nodes of this level first, and then we have to print it. So when we will reverse it, we will get the values as 9 and then 10. So we will simply print 9 and then 10. So you can see the output that we have got is very exactly similar to this output. So this was the main logic behind this. We do not have to do, we just have to do one thing. We have to write the code for level order traversal line by line, and we have to take a variable and just reverse the level whenever the f value becomes 1 or odd, and finally when we will print the values, we will get the traversal of a given tree in spiral fashion. So let's see the code for this problem. The code is very much similar. We have already done this code. So we have a zigzag traversal function where the parameter is given as the root node. What we are doing is, we are creating a vector answer. Why we are creating a vector? Because the return type that we have for this function is vector. So we are going to store our answer in a vector, and then we are going to return it. Again, we are going to create a queue, because we have to do a level order traversal. We are writing the base condition where if our root is equals to null, we will simply return our answer. We are pushing the initial value or the initial root to our queue. So and also we are taking a f variable where we are setting the f variable initially as f equals to 1. So while q equals to empty, this condition is false, we are going to traverse this. So this is the same condition, that is we are going to traverse for every level, so until our q gets empty. Again we are creating a vector, because we have created this vector because we have to store the nodes of a particular level into a different vector, so that it will be easier for us to reverse it whenever required, right? So we are creating this vector for that purpose. So initially what we have done is we have taken the count of our q, and for all the elements that we have currently in the queue, what we will do is we are first of all assigning the front of the queue to the current variable, and then we are pushing that pushing the data of that node to the vector. For example, initially we have 3 in our queue, and what we are doing is we are taking that 3 into our current variable and we are pushing the data 3 into our vector. So the vector now has value 3, and we are popping the q we are popping the 3 from the queue. Now these two lines, what these two lines will do is these two lines will check if 3 has any child nodes or not. Yes, if 3 has any child nodes, it will simply push those child nodes into our queue so that it can be processed in the next iteration. So once this while loop is done, what we will do is we will check if our f value is equals to 0. If f mod 2 equals to 0, that is if f is odd or even. So we can see that currently if our f value is odd, so we will not perform the reverse, right? This condition is false, so we will not perform reverse for this first iteration. We will simply move ahead and we will store our store the contents of our vector v into our answer vector. So answer vector is our final vector which we are going to return. So we are simply returning the vector v into our answer, pushing the values of vector v into our answer vector, and then we are changing the value of f to 0 again. So initially f value was 1 and now the f value is 0. So again it will run. Now this while during the second iteration, the queue will have the values 2 and 1, right? So for 2 and 1, again 2 and 1 will be pushed into the vector v. So again it will check if f mod 2 equals to 0. So yes, in this case we have changed the value of f to 0. So yes, it will hit true, and what we have to do is we have to reverse the contents of our vector v. So 2 and 1 will become 1 and 2. Now what we will do is we will simply push the values of the vector v into our answer vector, that is 1 and 2. So previously in our answer vector we already had 3, so we will push 1 and 2 also. So in our final answer vector we have the value as 3, 1 and 2. So after this it will not run because our queue got empty and we do not have any further nodes to process, so we will simply return our answer. So this was easier to understand, because if you have already seen done the previous code of level order traversal line by line, so there was just a simple few lines of changes that we have to check reverse the particular levels of a given binary tree, and you can see the problem is solved successfully and it's submitted successfully. So thanks for watching.